All right, you're loud listening. You now have entered the Apocalyptic Aftermath channel. I'm your most unholy and unhumble host, the Apocalyptic Aftermath. And man, I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are doing great. So we are in the age of technology, and we are going further and further into the cyberpunk era. Yes, sir, Bob. And it's going to be fantastic. And you have to know this. So, this video is going to be about how to properly walk into the cyberpunk era. Well, not necessarily. It's going to be about one aspect, because you got to have some money. All right? You got to have some money. There has to be a way to make money in the cyberpunk era. And there's two ways to go about this. Either we let the Illuminati win and we all become fucking, and the country becomes a communist country, and it sucks, and it's bland, and it's crap, and it's garbage. Either humanity is gonna choose garbage, which actually it does a lot. Most of the time, it chooses garbage, or we move into the cyberpunk era where it's going to be fantastic. Well, not necessarily fantastic, but it's going to be cool. Because at the end of the day, let's face facts, cyberpunk is going to be a little bit like Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, let's face facts. It's going to be a little bit like Sodom and Gomorrah, but it's going to be cool though. It's going to be cool though, because it's going to be ran by a bunch of very intelligent people that's going to give us as much advantages as they possibly can, and what we do with those advantages is up to us, and it's not up to them, because they're not your mom and they're not your dad. So they'll provide you with products that's going to make your life easier, and you're going to use it in the wrong way because you're a fucking human. All right, pardon my language. So I rather that than the garbage that these guys that the Illuminati is creating. All right, so, and that's where we're heading. And for as long as I'm alive, which might not be for a very long time, but for as long as I'm alive, I'm gonna direct you towards cyberpunk era instead of fucking doo-doo, piss, blood, sperm eating, and fucking gay children and nonsense bullshit garbage. All right, so how to properly indoctrinate yourself into the cyberpunk era. Well, let me tell you, man, you get started right now. And how do you do that? One of the ways to enter the cyberpunk era while making money is you got to get your publicity game up. Yes, sir, Bob. Publicity is very important. For a lot of you people, y'all have YouTube channels that are a lot more successful than mine, which kind of hits me in the gut a little bit, because I do think that my YouTube channel is quite good and important, but it is what it is. So anyway, for all you other guys that have a way better YouTube channel than mine, which there is a lot of, get your publicity game up. All right. What does that mean? Sell publicity on your channel. Not necessarily your channel. You're gonna have to have a website. Okay. You can build free website on Wix. Start with Wix. MySpace. Wix is free. MySpace, I think they have a free model too. I think you can get a free model too on MySpace, but I'm not sure. But Wix, I've been using Wix for decades. All right, so it's mostly free. I had a paid website, but usually it's free. The only difference is you don't see there's a little band on the bottom of the website, and they're gonna post their ads at the bottom of your website. If you get a paid Wix membership, they're gonna remove the little band that's under the website. But if you're just starting, it's fine. You know, if you're savvy, if you're business savvy, you can still manage, right? So work on your website, make yourself a beautiful website, and sell publicity on that shit. How do I connect my website to my YouTube? Well, you just put your YouTube, put some of your YouTube uh, content on your website, and sell publicity. You got a lot of views. If you have a lot of views, if you have like over 100 views and things like that, try to get yourself with publicity. Try to get as much publicity as you can. Try to sell as much publicity as you can. Get some local businesses to jump on your website. You can make it affordable, and make sure that the price range is something that you're comfortable with, especially if you're not used to business. If you're not business savvy, make sure the publicity that you sell on your website is an amount that is comfortable for you, right? So you can sell publicity on your website for $20. You can sell publicity on your website for $20. You charge a local business $20 a month to sell publicity on your website. You put their name and their logo on your website. Okay? You got to make yourself a living fucking commercial. All right? You got to make yourself a living commercial to the point where almost what you're wearing is full of publicity. Right? Like the only thing we looking at is publicity. You know what I mean? That's going to be cyberpunk, right? It's going to be cyberpunk because in the future, we're not going to be, as bizarre as it sounds, we're not going to be watching TV as much. We're going to be watching a lot of internet, which is very different. And on the internet is, you have to understand, we call it the World Wide Web. The internet is like a stream. It's like, it's another type of sea. It's another type of currency, right? The internet is another type of currency. And what I mean by that is, it's like a river. It's like a sea, right? It's like the sea. There's just infinite amount of data, right? There's infinite amount of data, and you got to be able to profit off of that data. There's people already profiting of data when we're talking about blockchain and shit like that. I don't really like blockchain. I'm not a big blockchain fan, but you got cryptocurrency, which is data, right? Like, people are making money with data already. So for us people that are more down to earth and less tech savvy, regular publicity is just as good. And then you're gonna pick up skills. It's gonna come to you. We live in a fourth dimension, right? We live in a fourth dimensional universe, right? So everything is always coming at us because of gravity, right? And because of gravity, well, whatever's up is gonna go down. So if there's knowledge coming from above your head, it's gonna hit you on the head at some time and point because it's coming towards you, right? So don't worry about, oh, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. Get started with a simple website, right? Or maybe your YouTube channel. You can sell publicity on your YouTube channel too. Get your publicity game up. You can sell publicity on your YouTube channel. Here's a word of advice. So, like, I don't see a lot of people doing this, but what you could do, instead of, most YouTubers, this is what they do, right? They get a sponsorship and the sponsorship is different from publicity. There's advertisement and sponsorship. Those are two different things, right? When you're sponsored, when somebody say this video is sponsored by so and so, this person is exclusively working with this specific company. That's different, right? And that company either gives them some kind of reward or compensation for putting an ad in their videos for that specific business, right? Then you have advertisement, right? And advertisement is also different from, well, publicity and advertisement is the same, right? But the way you go about things is a little bit different. Well, not really. It's the same. So let's just say publicity, right? Or advertisement if it's less confusing. Let's just say advertisement, right? So you have adverts, right? So, well, no, publicity. Let's say publicity, because adverts is a little bit like, it's not fringe, but it encompasses a lot of things, but what we're talking about is publicity specifically, right? And what we want to do, I don't see anybody do this on YouTube, but what you want to do is you want to place ads you see how much space there's on my screen right now? You see how much space there's on my screen? It's ridiculous. There's space here, there's a lot of space here, and here, there's a lot of space, right? So you can sell some of the space that's on your screen, right? So what you go do, you go see local businesses, right? You go see a local business and you put his logo and you charge him $20 a month, and you put his logo right there, right here, you put his logo right there, you put a logo right there, and depending on how much publicity, because the thing is, you got to know how to use your straw man, right? Your government name. You have to understand that your government name is a way for you to make money, right? So you got to use your straw man. You have to relinquish. You have to let go of your physical self, right? You have to let go of your physical self. You have to let go of this pure mindset, this purity mindset, this kind of like, I don't want to offend God and yada da 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 da. Okay, let go of that shit. Okay, no one cares. Okay, so you sell publicity right here, right? And you gotta understand, like, you will grow, you will evolve, right? You're gonna sell publicity here, and then you're gonna have publicity here, and then you're gonna have publicity here, and then you're not gonna have any space for publicity, right? And then you're gonna start with logos, right? You're gonna put logos on your website. You're gonna put logos on your YouTube. And I don't see any YouTubers do that, which they could do, right? Like, if you have I don't know, like, you got 1,000 people watching. There's a lot of YouTubers that have tremendous amount more than 1,000 views, so, and they have a tremendous amount of followers. If you got 10,000 followers, my friend, it's time for you to start selling publicity. I don't know what you're doing not selling publicity. I don't want to sell out. You're not selling out. That's not what selling out is. Selling out is signing a deal that goes against your convictions and your way of life. Selling publicity has nothing to do with your life. You're not signing any contracts. Well, there's a small contract, and you're the one that makes the contract. You're not selling out. You're the one that made the contract. You don't go to stores and store owners, and the store owner has a file with a bunch of papers in it, and there's like contracts already pre-established and pre-planned. That's not how that shit works. That's not how business works. Okay, when you're not selling out when you're doing publicity, because you're the one that creates the contract for the person to sign. So therefore, it is impossible for you to sell out. Because the business owner is not expecting you to walk in and be like, oh man, I got a bunch of sellout contracts here for anybody that walks into my store that wants to sign up. That's not people. They're just people. All right. Like the businesses are ran by human beings. Okay. They're humans. Okay. And you know what's funny? It's like, you don't want to sell out, but he doesn't want to sell out either. You know what I mean? That's the thing that people don't understand about each other. That's the disconnect that we have in society, bro. That's why, you know, this whole Puritan fucking, you know, no pun intended, no offense meant, I'm sorry, Jesus, for saying this, but this whole idea of, you know, Jesus is gonna fucking punish me if I fucking make some money. That's crazy. You're losing your fucking mind. You're losing your fucking mind. Stop it. Stop it right now. That's not how that works. You can't sell out by selling publicity. You sell out when you become a fucking rapper. All right? like when you become a rapper, that's a sellout. Like, you know, like you know what I mean? Rappers are sellouts, you know? All of them. You know what I mean? Like like that's 100%. All rappers are sellouts. You know what I mean? Like, that's facts. You know, that's just facts. You know, so, you know, actors, you know, I hate to say it, as much as I love movies, at the end of the day, shit, I mean, if you're in Hollywood, if you're making movies, you're making movies. But if you're in Hollywood, let's say you live in LA and you only do American movies, you're a sellout. You know, like all 80% of actors are sellout, which is a very high number. You can't, you know, that's selling out because you're selling your soul, man. When you're selling your soul for money, that's selling out. You know, you're not selling out when you're doing publicity. When you're adding somebody's logo to your shit, that's not selling out. That's nothing. That means nothing. Okay, you're just making money. That's all it is. You know, and I understand that most of us feel a little bit of motion sickness when we think about the idea of, you know, going about and going everywhere and just like talking to people and just be surrounded by a bunch of people. So that's the disdain that some of us have with business. We don't want to be in public. We don't want to be in a crowd. We don't want to, you know, I mean, we have to talk to this person. It's like, ugh, you know, ew, you know, like, relax, man. Take a chill pill. You're looking at this the wrong way. And that's why you feel motion sickness. You're looking at it the wrong way, man. You're making up stories in your head that are not true. Like, oh no, if I go, I got to sell out. I got to do that. You ain't got to do shit. You ain't got to do shit. You already did half of the job. If you have a YouTube channel that's successful and you got more than 1,000 people watching, you got more than 10,000 people, you know, subscribe to your channel, you already did the whole fucking job. It's not even like you did 90% of the job is done. All you need to do is show some kind of proof to whether you take a screenshot. You can take screenshots. Take screenshots of your YouTube channel. Take screenshots of your YouTube channel. Go into your dashboard. Go into your dashboard and take a screenshot of the graph of, you know, the scale of how many people watch today or the month and take a screenshot of that, put it all in one page or 2 pages, and then proceed and then make a little contract that doesn't need to be a lawyer. There's no need to have lawyers. There's no need to go to court, go see the judge and this and that business and go into the government office and ask for file D15, 16, 29, 2 BS, blah, blah, blah. No, relax. This is cyberpunk era, man. This is where, you know, all this is very normal. You're not doing anything that's gonna hurt your soul and spirit, and your grandfather is not gonna turn around 20 fucking times in his grave because, oh shit, he's selling fucking publicity. That's not. Whoa. All right. Relax. Everything is fine. All right. You make a little contract that stipulates that the person's gonna pay you $20 a month for publicity on your website, and literally that's the only thing that that fucking piece of paper needs to say. All right, so that's barely a paragraph. Like your contract is gonna be like 2 lines. That's it. That's a contract. Anything can be a contract. A handshake is a contract. Looking at somebody square in the eyes could be a contract. Taking a booger and making the other person take a booger and then touching the booger together, that's a contract. You know what I mean? Anything can be a contract. So relax, man. There's no soul losing involved. No souls have been hurt during the recording of this video. All right, so get your publicity game up, guys. So that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. And the worst part is, don't take what I just said for cash, because what I just said is for people that are less comfortable with large. There's people like that. And there's a lot of people like that. And there's a lot of people that don't know that that's what their problem is. They're uncomfortable receiving sums of money. It makes them feel weird. And then they get motion sickness. And then they start freaking out. And they're like, no, this shit is not for me. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Relax. Relax. It is. Get a hold of yourself, man. Get a hold of yourself. You already, if you have 1,000, if you get over 1,000 views, you can go see local businesses with those thousands of views. But the only problem here is, give me a second, because my camera is way too far to the right here. There you go. Okay, so the one problem is that you need to have a local audience, right? That would be the only problem, having a local audience. Of course, you can go international, but if you go into international, it's fine. It's fine. It's not hard. It's not hard. But I understand your stress level, Pick your targets, right? The business is not about being a robot. Business is like being a DJ. You got to feel the vibe. It's not about being a robot. You don't just sit straight up and then you call everybody on earth until you get a yes. That's not business. And if you're doing it like that, you're a robot and you're not doing it right. Okay? That's not how you do business. Feel the vibe. Feel the flow. Feel the vibe. Like, I like Red Bull. I've been trying to work with Red Bull since I don't know when. Okay? It never pans out for XYZ reasons. But that's not the point. What I'm trying to say is, that's my vibe. I don't want to work with Red Bull because Red Bull's a billionaire, blah, 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 blah. No, I want to work with Red Bull because I like drinking Red Bulls. Like that's it, and that's all, bro. And then and I like Monster, because Monster energy drinks do a lot of cool shit. If you follow, this is a perfect example. If you follow if you don't just drink Monster Energy, if you look at Monster Energy's catalog of product placement, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? Pardon my language, whatever you want to call it, right? Red Bull does cool things. Red Bull is involved in street racing. That's so dope. I would like to be involved in street racing. I think that's cool. You guys know who Ken Block is? The Honnigan car? It's sponsored by Monster Energy drink. So I spy with my little eye a bunch of things that Monster does that I think is cool too, because I like the same things that Monster is involved with. So now I have a familiarity with Monster Energy drink, even if I don't drink Monster Energy, right? Doesn't matter. Because every time I watch something that I like, Monster Energy drink is in it. So now, and then I like the product. So now, on top of that, I drink Monsters too. So now I like I like energy drinks. So uh, now you see the product, you enjoy the product is everywhere where you like being. So it's only normal for you. If you're going to sell some publicity, who are you going to hit first? Monster Energy. Why? Because I like what they're doing. Because they like the same things I like. They're involved in the same things I'm involved in. So now when you go and speak, so when you feel physically ill speaking to a business or a person, you're not supposed to feel physically ill speaking to Monster Energy drink, because Monster Energy drink is already involved in cool shit. So they know what they're doing. And trust me, I've tried getting Monster to do specific things, and they're very specific. Monster Energy drink is actually very specific on the things that they want to be implicated in. This is facts. I've tried implicating Monster Energy drink for other businesses that were completely unrelated with the stuff that they usually get implicated with, and they didn't want to have anything to do with me. you know like so because it wasn't the thing. They're not into the kind of things that I wanted them to be into. So you can't just call up companies. So a lot of people are flipping out because they think calling a company is gonna be selling their soul to the devil, and Jesus Christ is gonna fucking rain hellfire and brimstone upon their heads if they even fucking think about calling them, which is not true. That's you're making up stories in your mind. Okay, that's not facts. Okay, because when you are used to calling up businesses and working with businesses, you will know that certain businesses, there's certain things that they're not gonna do. There's certain things that they're not gonna get into. They're not interested, right? So you can't just sell out like everybody think, like everybody and people are very judgmental, and they don't know nothing and they judge. They don't know shit and they judge, right? So and this is like 90% of the population. 90% of the population doesn't know shit, and they just see shit and they talk out of their asses without knowing what the fuck they're talking about, right? Like a guy walks around town, he got a Monster Energy drink jacket. Oh, look at that fucking sellout. Nah, he's not a sellout, man. Like, if he got a Monster Energy drink jacket, it's because he's doing something cool. He's part of, or he just bought the jacket because he liked the jacket. That would be selling out. That would be selling out, actually, because you just bought the jacket just because it's. So but that's a different kind of selling out. That's not the same. That's just that's the type of selling out. That's like a person that's just kind of asleep, and he's like pro businesses, pro conglomerates. That's selling out. That's selling out. Because even Monster Energy drink doesn't just get involved with anybody and everything for no reason. They don't just try to, oh, come here, and no. They're very specific. They do specific things. They're very specific with the things, and they're way into sports. They're into physical activity. And that's their niche. They have a niche. Monster Energy drink has a niche. They're not everywhere. If you pay attention, Monster Energy drink is a very successful company, and they could be everywhere, but they're not everywhere. They're in physical things, like an extreme physical things, like like you'll see Monster Energy drink for skateboarders and BMX triple X games, you know, the X games, or you know, like I said, car racing, you know, extreme car racing, rallies, you know, the rally car racing, you know, racing in the desert. They like racing in the desert. They make videos. Ken Block, go check out Ken Block if you don't know what that is. And by the way, before you start dissing, if you see the Ken Block video, you just check out on YouTube. If you see a Ken Block video and you see the Honnigan car, that car is fucking legendary. So before you start fucking laughing and shit because you don't know nothing, he might remind you that that fucking car that he's driving is fucking legendary. You're not aware of it, but that's a legendary car, and that's a legendary driver. Ken Block is a legendary driver. So you know, they make things like that, you know. And then you got Red Bull. Red Bull expands their rising a little bit more. You know, they have a little they have a lot more deals with specific characters and specific industries than Monster Energy drink does. So everybody's specific. It's not just because somebody's successful that he's a fucking sellout. You know, selling out is different. You know, it's not what you think. You mean, you can be successful without selling out. You can make money selling publicity without selling out. Selling out is when, you know, you're knocking out the Illuminati's door asking for money. That's selling out. Straight to the point. End of story. End of story. If you get involved with a business and you're asking for X amount of money and it's an exaggerated amount of money, and that person then asks you, well, if I'm going to give you your money, are you willing to crack some eggs over your head and wear this dress and go try to pin a tail blindfolded on a pony? That's selling out. You know, if you're not doing none of that shit, which you're not doing if you have a YouTube channel and you're selling publicity on your YouTube channel, you're not selling out. You're using the space on your channel in order to generate passive incomes. Passive income. We call that passive income because you're not physically doing anything. You're not physically working the bather. You know, it's there. $20 a month, you get a space. So what you do, you use this space here, right? Like, let's say, you know what, me personally, I would use the space that's right here. Give me a second. So me personally, I would use this space that's right. Oh man, I'm so not used to this space that's right here. You know, this space right here, like this space here. You put a black bar right there. You put a black bar right there. You need to know how to edit videos a little bit. It's not that hard. It's just a black bar. We're not asking you to make a fucking Hollywood movie here. Relax. You know what I mean? Chill. You know, you put a black bar there. And that black bar, you sell. This is a space for you to put publicity on. So let's say, okay, so let's use this piece of paper. So there's a person here, and then there's a person here, and there's a person here, there's a person here, there's a person here. They all pay you $20 a month. $20, that's 5 people, that's $100. All right, so you get $100 a month. So now you're rounding out your monthly salary. So you're making $600. You're making $1,000. You're making $1,200, right? So now you're making $1,300 instead of $1,200 while doing your videos. You know, like, it's not that huge, but it's a good thing. But back to what we were saying, because like I said, this is only for people that are not comfortable with receiving large sums of money. And I want you to get used to the idea of selling publicity, because that's how you're going to be comfortable receiving sums of money. It's a spiritual thing, baby. It's a spiritual thing. We get called penguins and robots and whatnots. You don't know shit. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You're a bum. That's why. because you're a fucking bum. Facts. It's like people that say shit like that, they're bums. Okay, that's because they never fucking tried nothing, and they're the first motherfuckers to throw a motherfucker under the bus, and they never tried doing shit. Right? Because you could at least, like, $20 is nothing. You know, you can do that. Like, it's not a big deal. You can charge somebody. You can charge them whatever you want. You can charge them $5. You can charge them $10. You can charge them $15. You can charge them $100. You can charge them $50,000 if you want to, depending on your YouTube channel. And that's the thing that I'm trying to talk about right there. Maybe you're charging $20, but you're undercharging. If you have a successful YouTube channel, if you have that many people watching you, you're undercharging for publicity, right? Because you're lowballing it. You're lowballing it. Sorry, you're not a bum. You're not a bum. You're lowballing it, right? You're lowballing it, and you know, like, you should charge more. Okay, if you have 10,000 people watching, if you have 5,000 people, 5,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, locally speaking, well, maybe internationally it's not lucrative, you know, and people won't be interested, you know, internationally, because internationally 20,000 people is not a lot, you know. So you'll have to charge $20. You know, if we're speaking internationally, you'll have to charge $20 because it's not enough to make. It's not a big enough incentive for an international company, for a company that's selling international, to give you $100 to $3,000. Well, maybe $100, but not $3,000, $5,000 for publicity on your channel, right? But let's say YouTubers that have millions of views, they do sell publicity, but it's a sellout way that they're selling publicity. You know, they're not really selling, but they're not using the space. They're not using their space, you know, and it's not their fault because they're kind of slaves to YouTube. They're kind of like, when we're talking about streamers don't have publicity on their streams, which is absurd. It's crazy. It's crazy because that's the first thing you should do. They make a lot of money. They make a lot of money streaming though, so they don't have to put that many ads on their channel. And they have, like, you know, they have ads that run during the stream and shit like that, right? I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said bum. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. My bad. My fault. You know. But when you think about space on your YouTube channel, right? When you don't have 5 million subscribers and shit like that. Let's say you're running a mill, you know, if you don't have local viewers, you can't sell to local businesses unless those businesses want to go international or have the capacity to go international. So you can go see a local business that is selling off overseas and charge him, and he will find it interesting because you do have 20,000 people watching. That's 100,000 views. 100,000 views. So that means if you put publicity for this guy on your channel, 100,000 people are going to see it. That, my friend, is lucrative. That, my friend, is interesting to any fucking business. 100,000 people is a lot of people. You know what I mean? So now you're charging a little bit more. Now you're charging like 500. You know what I mean? Now you're charging 500, and you only have one publicity on your fucking channel. And this is why money grows from trees. This is why we say money grow on trees. Some people say money don't grow on trees. Well, us business people, us entrepreneur, it's the opposite. For us, money grows on trees. You know what I mean? $500 for one advertisement. And then you get another. So now you got 1,000. Now you're charging that a month. Over a period of 6 months. That's $60,000. Over a period of 10 months. That's, man, come on now. Over a period of 6 months, you made 60,000. No, you made 6,000, but over a period of 10 months, you're gonna make 60,000, right? So like that's in a year. Right, so now you're making 60,000 a year, and you only have two publicities on your fucking thing, and you could do more. And the goal is to have more. The goal is to never stop selling publicity. The goal is to just have as much publicity, to sell as much publicity as you possibly humanly can. This is the cyberpunk age. You gotta get into it. We gotta step into the cyberpunk age correctly. We gotta step into the cyberpunk age correctly, man. We gotta start selling publicity, because everything is gonna be about publicity, because the businesses are gonna stop spending money on TV advertisement because it's useless. Nobody watches TV no more, bro. That shit is done. Everybody watches YouTube. Everybody watches a shit on the internet. So there's gonna be even more publicity on the internet, and there is already more publicity on the internet, and people are tired of ad blockers. I don't like ad blockers. I don't block ads. I don't want to block ads. It's annoying. I fucking hate it, but I don't want to block ads, because that's where I can get some information. If there's a new product that comes out, I don't watch TV. So if there's a new product that comes out, I'm not gonna see it. And the news needs to do the same thing too. The news are going to sell news bits. They're going to start selling news bits, man. You're going to see like bits of news while you're watching your favorite YouTube channel, because nobody watches TV anymore. And the news, they make money with audience members just like everybody else. So the news is gonna have to transition into this cyberpunk era, and this is gonna it's gonna be an introduction to the cyberpunk era. So publicity is very cyberpunk. Publicity is super cyberpunk. When you're watching cyberpunk things, people are walking down the street and it's just ads everywhere. Why do you think that is? You think these people are stupid? Hollywood is not that dumb, right? The Hollywood is ran by a bunch of crazy people, but they're not that stupid. They know what the future is going to be like. They already know what the future is going to be like, man, because there's scientists that already predicted all this shit years ago, right? There's philosophers and scientists that already predicted how humanity is going to evolve. We already know everything. We know what's going to happen. Unless a meteor fucking hits the planet and the planet explodes, then all the mathematical predictions are going to happen, because those people were very clever, very smart, and borderline geniuses, if not geniuses, and they thought about all this decades ago. All right, so we already know the plan, right? We just have to follow through. That's all we need to do. Unless and we don't need to worry about an asteroid hitting the planet. If the asteroid hit the planet, the asteroid hit the planet. Who cares? So and you're not gonna stop yourself from living because the asteroid is gonna hit the planet. Fuck it. Keep living, keep doing your thing. Until the asteroid comes, keep doing your thing. And when the asteroid comes, then you can panic. Then you can be like, I quit my job because there's an asteroid coming, so I don't give a shit about this stupid job. You know what I mean? But until then, sell some publicity, baby. Sell some publicity. Put some publicity on your website. Put some publicity on your YouTube channel. And now comes from the website, because that's the first part. That's the first part. The using space on your stream because some of you guys got stream. I have a stream. Some of you guys got streams. I had ads on my stream 2 years ago. I had ads on my stream 2 years ago. You know, what else? My website, my internet website. I had ads on my internet website. I had ads on that. So I didn't charge a lot. I did $20 a month. I used to charge some people $20, 40, 100. It depends. It wasn't a big number. Not that I wasn't comfortable with it. I was trying to get a local fan base. I was trying to get some local people, some mom and pop stores. You're not gonna charge $500 a month to a mom and pop store, man. Relax, chill. Like, it's a little bit of, you gotta have some discernment. You gotta see, you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing. You don't just fucking wake up, you hear my video, you get super excited, you go to a mom and pop store and you charge them $1,000 a month because you got 100K followers. Really chill. Like, pump your brakes. That's an absolute no. Like, that's if you do that shit and you go over there and they treat you like an asshole, you deserve that shit. You know what I mean? Like, you deserve to be treated like an asshole. So like, you gotta have discernment. We're not robots. We're not money hungry and robot. Nah, man. We're DJs, man. We're DJs, man. We're magicians. We're magicians. We know how to raise the sea like Moses. We know how to part the sea like Moses. You know what I mean? We can raise it. We can lower it. We can move it to the right. We can move it to the left. You know what I mean? That's an entrepreneur. But an entrepreneur is a magician. It's not a robot. You know what I mean? Not that I don't mind being called a robot, because I think robots are fucking awesome. I think robots are cool. I wish I was a fucking robot. That would be freaking badass. So I don't even feel bad when people call me a robot. I don't feel bad when people call me a penguin either, because I think penguins are cool. Penguins are fucking awesome. They look awesome and they're so fucking cute. I don't see what the big deal is. I don't mind being a fucking penguin. If you think I'm a penguin, I'm a fucking penguin. And I don't and it's an honor to be called a penguin, because you're comparing me to a bunch of other successful men. You know what I mean? So so that's a compliment to me. You know what I mean? To some people it might be an insult, but to me that's a compliment. You know what I mean? If you call me a penguin or a robot, I'm like, yes, I made it. I'm one of them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's what I want. That's what I'm aiming for. So anyway, let's get to the website. So now the website is a little bit more difficult, because now you need to be a little bit more creative. Now you got to sell, you're going to sell ads on your website. But the difficult part is you got to have an attendance on your website, because that's what gets the businesses going, right? That's what is going to make or break the deal. When you'd say, oh, I got a beautiful website, you can sell ads on it, blah, 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 blah. And he's going to ask you, yeah, okay, cool. But what about the traffic? How much traffic does your website operate? So now you got to make sure that you're capable of accessing in your dashboard the traffic number of your website. And all you have to do, like I said, it's not a big deal. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to lose your fucking mind. All you have to do is take a screenshot of the traffic on your website. And if it's a high number, you're golden. You're golden. If you have a high traffic volume on your website, you're golden. Everything's good. So there's no reason to have motion sickness and anxiety and shit. Like, you don't have to do nothing. All you have to do is take a screenshot, put it on a piece of paper, go to the I don't know where, go to the library or the pharmacy. I don't know. Pharmacies in Canada have they have photocopiers and shit. So I don't know. Like, go anywhere that has a photocopying machine. Make a copy. Make a couple of copies of that, because you're not going to just go see one person. You're going to see more than one person. You know what I mean? So screenshot that shit. You know, go on your computer, open up Microsoft Word, put the name of your website, and you know, leave a blank space for the person's name or the person's business name, and say that you're charging X amount a month for advertisement on your channel. By the bang, three sentences. I've seen contracts that have 3 sentences on it. Shit you not. That is not a joke. That's facts. There's contracts that have 3 fucking sentences on it. Three, not more. 2. I'm pretty sure there's some contracts that have 2 sentences. Give me money. Bye. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's it. Like, that's it, bro. Like, so there's no reason. Like, people, when you talk about business, people have like insane ideas of what business is, and it's ridiculous. Like, it's like, bro, go to school, my nigga. Like, wow. Stop. Because the thing is, when you watch movies, they make business sound so complicated with the numbers, the Dow Jones, the up and down, the suits, Wall Street, blah, blah, blah. That's one aspect. That's a specific business. The thing that people don't understand about most business movies is that most business movies are not about business. Most business movies are about Wall Street. Wall Street is a specific type of business. It is not business as a whole. It is not in general, right? And most movies, I've never seen a movie about business in general. If it's even possible to do that, because business encompasses so many types of businesses and so many types of way and so many types of characters that I don't even know if it's possible to make a movie about like business in general. Probably, but I don't have enough creativity or imagination to think of a way of how to do that. But if you pay attention, you will see that most business movies are about specific businesses. Like fast food. There's a lot of movies about fast food restaurants. That's not business in general. That's fast food. When you're watching a movie about Wall Street or a person that's in Wall Street, and most business movies, the biggest fantasy in movies is about Wall Street dudes. It's always about Wall Street dudes, Wall Street dudes, Wall Street dudes, always Wall Street dudes, right? You know, that's a fantasy. It's a power fantasy, you know, because the Hollywood feels that Wall Street dudes are the most powerful human beings on earth, you know. So it's a power fantasy. It's just a power fantasy movie. It's not even about business, because business encompasses a lot of things, you know. Hustling is business. If you're a hustler, you're a businessman. You know what I mean? Depending on how much you hustle. Like, let's say The Pursuit of Happiness was a movie about business. That was closer to reality than anything else. But even though like The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, The Pursuit of Happiness was still a good warning, a good show of how business can be. You know, it can be harsh, it can be difficult, and you have to understand, like, that dude had an idea, but he invented the thing that he was selling, and he had an idea, and then he ended up being a stockbroker though. He ended up being a stockbroker, so he let go of the idea that he had, but he was working hard. He was a hustler, you know. So, you know, it was more a movie about how life can be hard. It wasn't a movie about business, you know. It was a movie about life. You know what I mean? It was a movie about life. And some people are bums. You know, a lot of people, when, you know, and because I say that because you need to be careful about those people. Those people are evil, and, well, not evil, but there's something negative about them. They have a high amount of negativity, and you need to get away from people like that. Like, you know, people that don't know shit about business, and they just judge business, and they don't know a goddamn thing about it, and they just judge people that do business, and they assume that people that do business are, they're just penguins, or they're just fucking robots, and just money hungry. They don't. That's because they don't know a goddamn thing about business. They don't know what being an entrepreneur is, which means they never actually use their hands to do anything in their lives. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing about being an entrepreneur. You're using your hands. You're using what you got in order to get something. That's very different. That is not. You're not being a penguin doing that. You're not being an unemotional robot that just, you know, fucking no, you're using your imagination. You're thinking about a way that you're gonna get it. You're thinking about a way that, and you're moving, and you're struggling, and you're doing like, no, you're using your hands, man. Like, you know, that's not being blend. You're not being blend. You're not being a robot. So anyway, back to the website though. So website is remarkable. Website is a beautiful thing. A website is a beautiful thing. So now you got to think of what you're going to put on your website in order to attract people to your website. And you connect that to your YouTube channel, right? So it's important for you to make a publicity for your website if you have a website, depending on what, like me. Okay, so let's use me as an example, because it's a good example. So I have a website where I have a radio show, right? I have an internet radio, and I have a YouTube channel. So what I do is I tell people on my YouTube, go check out my my internet radio station, and then you go over there. The people that watches me on YouTube, they go over there and they see a bunch of publicity, they see a bunch of ads. They can click on it if they want. I don't give a shit if they click on it or not. I don't give a fuck. That's unimportant to me. The only thing that's important to me is that there's ads on my website, and I don't care. If you don't want to click on it, don't click on it, man. It's your business. You can do whatever you want. If you want to just sit there and listen to the music, do that, you know. But one thing's for sure, the thing that's fun is, at the end of the day, the reason why businesses will take space on your website is because there's a higher probability that people will come into their stores because there's an ad somewhere that shows that their store exists. And at the end of the day, I might have an ad on my website that might actually be interesting to you. You know what I mean? You might end up, and if you're watching my website, if you're listening to my website all the time, if you're listening to my radios, one of those business, let's say I have McDonald's, right? So, and this is what McDonald's want, by the way. This is actually what McDonald's want. These guys are not stupid either. This is what they want. This is why they spend money on advertisement. Because even McDonald's knows, well, this guy's going to spend, let's say, 100 hours on this dude website, right? So for 100 hours, I'm gonna put my McDonald's logo on this guy's website and he has 2,000 people listening. He has 2,000 people listening, but those 2,000 people are always on the fucking website. They're listening for hundreds of hours, right? So that means at least there's a higher probability that at least if I can get at least, the reason why I'm gonna put an advertisement on this channel is if I can get at least bare minimum 5% of those people to come into the McDonald's because of the advertisement on this website. Because if you're looking at McDonald's, one of these days you're gonna eat McDonald's, you're gonna be like, you know what, fuck it. You know what I mean? And that's what we want. That's what we want. We're trying to sell you advertisement in the hopes that after that 100 hours of listening, that you'll be like, you know what? I want some fucking McDonald's. And McDonald's, believe it or not, but the magicians, the advertisement magicians that work at McDonald's, that's how they think. They're not thinking, oh, numbers 0.5678 blah blah blah. No. They're like, Nah. This guy, this guy has a lot of views. This guy has a lot of views. So there's a high probability that people will fucking buy some McDonald's if I put an ad on this shit. Yeah, go ahead. I'm taking some publicity. I'm gonna put something on his fucking website. Here you go, 5,000. Here you go, 1,000. Here you go, 10,000. Whatever McDonald's charges for publicity, whatever you charge McDonald's for publicity, depending on how much traffic that your website generate, and they're gonna be happy doing it. In their heads, they're like, yeah, you know what I mean? They don't think that that's a loss. They're not like, another person asking for money again. That's not what they think. They're like, yeah. That's what McDonald's is thinking, you know, and you're thinking the same thing. You're like, yeah, McDonald's gave me some money, and all y'all rubbing your hands for no reason. You know, all of you are rubbing your hands for no reason, because it's normal for somebody to go eat McDonald's after seeing an ad of McDonald's, so it's not that big of a deal, you know. Nobody, but it's just, you know. You know, like, but at the end of the, and even if, like, everybody, like, you know, you made a good deal when everybody in the deal thinks that they have one over the other. Like, you know, when everybody's like rubbing their fingers, like, yeah, I got him. Like, when everybody feels that way, you know you did a good deal. Nobody's fucking over nobody. Nothing's going on. Everything is absolutely normal. But, you know, people are people. You know what I mean? Like, humans will be humans, you know? So yeah, man, like, websites, you have a higher possibility. You have a higher probability of selling ads on your website and attracting traffic a lot more. Well, just as much as YouTube. It's easier with a website than it is on YouTube, because you could have 20,000 subscribers, right? But when you have a website, you could have 20,000 subscribers. Fine, okay, sure, whatever. But it's not even about the subscribers. It's about the traffic. And since the internet is basically the entire universe, which is different from YouTube. YouTube is not the entire universe. When we're talking about website, you have basically your audience is 8 billion people, because there's not a lot of people that don't have internet. There's very poor countries that have internet, and they are all capable of seeing your ads. If you have a .com, if you have a .ca, a .to, or a .uk, it's only people in the UK, or only people in China, or only people, you know, in Canada, right? But when you have a .com, anybody and everybody has the capability of seeing it. So now you have to advertise, but then it's still your responsibility to advertise your website, you know. If you're already, let's stick to pirate business for a second, because we don't want to get into actually spending money, right? Because everything I just said here, you're capable of generating income without spending money. If you noticed, if you have been reading between the lines since the start of the video, everything I just said is free. You don't have to spend one fucking dollar, and you could generate a tremendous amount of money, a ridiculous amount of income, right? Without spending $1. Starting a YouTube channel costs zero money. Opening a website costs zero money. The only thing that you're gonna pay for is the paper that is gonna cost for you to to photocopy one of the screenshots and your contracts, and that's like what, 10 cents, 10, 20 cents, I don't know. Well, now I heard it's $1. Well, I went the other day at the photocopying machine, and apparently it was like $1. So I guess that changed. Back in my days, photocopies was only 10 cents, 5 cents, and that's not a joke. Back in my days, photocopy machine was a fucking 5 cents. It's insane, you know. Shit is wild, you know. And now it's like $1. I was so surprised. I was like, oh, my heart almost stopped, dude. Like, she told me, like, I asked the lady how much to photocopy this piece of paper. She said $1. I was like, what? $1 each paper? She's like, yeah. Oh, hell no. You know, so all of that is free, and you can generate income with $0. So basically, I just gave you the blueprint or how to generate a vast amount of income, a good amount of income with $0, not a cent, nothing. $0. $0. Like, not $1. This ain't a scam. Okay, I'm not, you know, because you know the videos, like, you know, you know, oh, you can start a business with $0, just, and then the guy ends up, oh, you buy my DVD for $50, you know, like, get the fuck out of here, like, you know. So, like, this is actually facts. This is $0. So the first thing you do, you open up a YouTube channel. Second thing you do, you sell advertisement on your YouTube channel, right? You get a, okay, so you know, you get a program, because you need the program in order to put, which you're gonna go find out by yourself. I'm not gonna tell you everything, especially on YouTube, because I don't get any money for this, and you're gonna be rich and I'm gonna be broke as a motherfucker, complaining about my goddamn family trying to kill me every motherfucking day. So fuck you guys, go find out how to fucking do that yourself. So like, you know, like, so you get the program, because you need a specific program to do that, and you put the fucking bar on the side of the fucking thing, put some advertisement on that shit. You charge $20 a month if you want to. You charge $50 a month if you want to. It depends on how comfortable you are with receiving income, and I want you guys to feel comfortable. Right? I want you guys to become, if $20 is something you're comfortable receiving from a company, so be it. So be it. You know what I mean? So be it. Fuck it. You charge 20, you charge 20. It is what it is. But get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with it. Get used to it. And that's a good way to get used to it. But don't charge lower than 20. Don't charge lower than 20. If you're not comfortable receiving $20, kill yourself. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, but seriously, if you're not comfortable receiving $20, you stop it. Get some help. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, you get used to it. You know, it's a way for you to get used to it, and then you get, because as your channel expands, as your channel grows, you're gonna get more money, right? It's only normal for you to receive more income. You know, and it's only normal for you to ask for more, not necessarily from the same company that you charge $20 to, but there's certain specific companies that you're gonna have to charge more, because now you're doing all the work and they are getting you, because business is spiritual, man. Like, let's say a spiritual person like me, bro, if I make a commercial for, because I'm a superstar, right? So we're all superstars. We're all superstars in our own rights. We all have power of influence, and that's cyberpunk. And that's the thing about cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is going to be all about influence, right? Influencers, right? We already named it. We already have a name for it. We call it influencers, right? So you have power of influence. And even in the spiritual realm, you have power of influence. Just because you're a spiritual person, that doesn't mean people that you don't have the same type of power of influence. Like, you could be the Kim Kardashian of your universe, right? You could be a Kim Kardashian of your universe. You know, it only depends on how much you have self-confidence and you're aware of how important you actually are. And that's the only difference, because some people don't have that confidence. Some people don't see their own stars. It happens. It happens. Some people don't have confidence. Maybe they used to get beat up when they were children all the fucking time, so their self-confidence is smashed. You know what I mean? Like beating your kids doesn't make him confident. It makes him unconfident. It breaks his soul. It breaks his spirit. It's like that's why beating your kids is not a good thing, because it's like it's slave mentality, right? It's like it's like you're breaking in a slave, and the black community has a tendency to they perpetuate that style. Black people don't beat their kids because they're severe. They beat their kids because they used to get beat up, so they beat their kids too. Because they beat their kids out of fear that the white man is going to beat them, so they beat them first so that they don't offend the white man, so they don't get beat up by the white man. So it's like a vicious circle, and all that shit is garbage. It's just fear, because there's no white man that's going to beat your kids. There's crazy white people, obviously, but it's not the entirety of white people that's gonna beat your kids. It's not like white people walk around, I'm gonna beat some black kids up. That's some wild shit. I'm gonna beat some white, like, that's not how people act, especially nowadays. Maybe back in the 70s, maybe back in the 60s, but nowadays that's not just not a thing, But we still perpetuate that shit. For generations, we've been perpetuating that shit. But that's not important. That's another thing for another day. What we're talking about here, well, it is important, but what we're talking about here, which, because I forget here, business, like I said, you have a power of influence. So the reason why I want you to get used to it is because I want you to get used to seeing your power and influence, and you have to be aware of your power and influence, because there's some people are like that. Because if let's say you charge a guy $20, but you have power of influence, right? So because you put an ad on your channel, because you put a publicity on your channel, there's your soul family, there's the mass consciousness of your soul family. Not the physical soul family, but the mass consciousness of the soul family that's going to see it. And they're going to be like, oh, you endorse this person, so I'm going to go over there. And then that company now has 2%, a 2% upkeep, because you put a publicity on your YouTube channel, right? So now there's a little 1%, little 2% more people, more customers that usually comes in. He's taking advantage of that shit, but you're not confident enough to know that that's the case. So he's making more money, and he's only paying you $20 a month. And that 2% is giving them like $1,000 extra a month. So he's sitting there, yeah, you know what I mean? And you're like, come on. Let's get used to things. Let's open up. Let's open your heart, open your chest like Iron Man, and let that beam out. Let that repulsor ray out, man. Let's go. Let's do this shit. And everything I just said, you can do it right now. No money. Zero. As long as you have a computer, you can do all that shit. And if you have a fucking printer, that's even better. You know what I mean? If you have a printer and a computer, you're good. You know what I mean? So now you can sell you can sell ads, you can sell publicity on your website. You just need the traffic. That's all you need. You just need to have a high traffic number. How do you get a high traffic number? Well, now you need content. So either you put the content, either you make specific content for your website, you link your website to your YouTube channel, or you make a oratory call to action, and you tell people, go check out my website, There's other videos on there, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. That's gonna create traffic, because not everybody that watches your YouTube channel is by the way, please subscribe to my channel if you like what you hear. I forgot to say that, because when I do tell you that, you do remember to subscribe, so I need to say that more often. So too bad the 1 hour, the 20 minute mark, the 30-minute mark already passed, so nobody's gonna subscribe to my channel, unfortunately. So, but please subscribe to my channel, leave a like, leave a comment if you like what you hear, whatnots. So now we're into this thing with the website, and the website is beautiful because you could make like you can sell a lot more ads. There's a lot more space on your website to sell ads, right? So it's the same thing as your as your YouTube channel. It's actually easier on your website to do that because you don't need no software or anything. All you need to do is take the logo, put it on the fucking thing, boom, and then you're out. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just bam. Yeah, you know. You can make your own publicities. You can make your own publicity just like people do on YouTube. A lot of people do publicity for their sponsors. You could do the same things for people that are not sponsoring you and charge them a lot more money for it. Why? Because a visual, a media publicity is actually a lot more expensive than just regular publicity. So now we're talking in the thousands of dollars, baby. We're talking in the thousands of dollars when you're making a physical, mediatized commercial that's worth a lot more money and for a lot less. So a 1 minute commercial is about $1,000. Sponsorship, they have sponsorship, so they do it. I don't know what the deal that some of these YouTubers have. Me, having experience, or having researched, not experience, but having research on publicity and ads made by physical people, I can tell you that it's in the seconds. It's $1,000 for a couple of seconds. So if you make a 1 minute advertisement for somebody, it's about $1,000, you know, and that's everybody everywhere. You know what I mean? So, and I see a lot of these sponsorship ads, they're like 5 minutes long. I don't know if these guys are actually getting $5,000. They might be. Who knows? I don't know. Or maybe the sponsorship is so good they just feel like doing a commercial for the person, because they put in a lot of work. I see some people put in a lot of work for their sponsorship ads on their YouTube channel. I mean, like, it's funny, there's video editing, there's all the, like, they put in a lot of work. I don't know how much money they're getting paid. Maybe they're not even getting paid any money. Maybe they're just doing it just for fun, but I don't know. I have no idea. I would have to ask. I never asked. So this is my introduction video to Cyberpunk era. This is also my start your business for $0 video right here, you know, and this is actually how to start a business with $0. You know, this is actual $0. If you follow step by step what I told you, you're gonna pay $0 fucking dollars and you're gonna be in business. Literally in business. $0, not $1. Yeah, man. So that's all I have to say. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, because not by tomorrow there should be like a bunch of fucking millionaires because of me. Like, all you guys should be millionaires in 2 years thanks to this video. You know, and I hope somebody's gonna think about me once they're on their yacht, you know, smoking cigars and shit with Puff Daddy, doing freak offs on the yacht with baby oil and shit. So I don't want to be in your freak off, but you can send me some couple. You can send me a couple dollars. That'd be appreciated. Um, and yeah, man, I feel like I forgot something here. No, that's it. That's all I have to say. Peace out.